stablecoin issuers get a big first earnings test and a new IPO. Hey there and welcome back to the Crypto Corner. I'm Sam Vadas, filling in for Jenny Horn today. Lots to get to. Let's welcome in our guest, Adam Lynch, Director at Schwab Equity Research. Hi Adam, thanks so much for joining us. So let's jump right into Ethereum. Huge move this week. What's on your radar there?
Yeah, Ethereum's obviously been on quite a tear the past 10 days, shooting up from around $3,400 to over $4,700 per Ethereum, even creeping up towards its all-time high, which was hit back in October of 2021. So here on Crypto Corner over the past couple of months, we've frequently mentioned how Ethereum's essentially failed to close the gap between not its all-time high, but the most recent high that it hit back in December. Bitcoin was able to do that back in May. Well, now it's happened and it's starting to trade significantly higher than any of its moving averages. So the support levels there, the 30-day is down near around $3,300 and the 200-day down around $2,500. Been quite a bounce since the low that it was at back at $1,500 back in April. Now, I think a lot of this price movement is driven by increased interest. Monday was the first time that spot Ethereum ETFs topped 1 billion in net inflows, as institutional interest in Ethereum is clearly picking up steam. I've heard analysts have said that investors are essentially recognizing Ethereum's value as a cornerstone of mainstream crypto adoption, pointing towards its use of as a store of value, as well as being a fundamental layer for decentralized finance or DeFi and Web3 innovation. Since May, the spot ETF have brought in over 8 billion in net inflows, and it sounds like that trend is likely to continue.
Okay, so while the Ethereum chart is rocketing higher, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin spaceflight company is also making the news in the crypto world. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we're seeing some more of a relationship between space innovation and crypto. Payment processing company Shift4 Payments, which is traded on the NYSE under ticker FOUR or 4, has partnered with Bezos' space travel company Blue Origin, enabling customers to pay for space flights using popular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT. Customers are also able to connect crypto wallets, such as those from Coinbase and MetaMask, to make those payments, and it comes with instant settlement in USD 24/7. Now, while personal space flight may be a little bit out of reach for most of us, crypto billionaire and Tron founder Justin Sun secured a seat on one of their flights back in July after making a record $28 million bid. In the future, these transactions can be completed instantly and securely using Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Okay, and switching gears now, looking at stable coins. You and Jenny did tease the Circle earnings report. The numbers are now out. What did you make of the quarter?
A bit of a mixed bag, I'd say, but leaning towards the positive side. Immediately after the announcement last night, their shares popped quite a bit, but today, Circle's down around 3% on some additional news that the company plans to issue additional 10 million shares following its 425% rally since the IPO. The good news here was that in the second quarter, revenue jumped over 50% on strong stablecoin growth, as revenue rose from $430 million in the same period a year ago to $650 million last quarter. Circulation of Circle's USDC coin grew 90% over the past year to $61.3 billion. Now, this increased adoption was the key thing that investors and analysts were looking for, and growth like this just helps lend more validation to these stablecoins. On the downside was earnings, which were negative. Now, the company had a net loss of $482 million or $4.48 per share. This is down from break-even earnings a year ago, due mostly to some non-cash IPO-related charges for stock-based compensation. Now, in addition to the financials, the market wanted to hear what else they can do. And along those lines, Circle announced plans to launch a new proprietary blockchain designed to be a network for stablecoin payments, FX, and capital markets. They also teased some future growth, pointing towards surging institutional engagement after their IPO and the recent passage of the Genius Act.
Okay, and one quick plug. Circle's CFO, Jeremy Fox-Geen, will be on Friday's Market on Close, so don't miss that interview. But lastly, the Peter Thiel-backed company Bullish went public here today. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this was a very fun one to watch. Over the past couple of days, interest in this has just surged. Last week, Bullish was expected to raise around $630 million by issuing 20 million shares at $30 each. What actually happened was the company issued 30 million shares at a public offering price of $37, raising $1.1 billion, nearly double what was expected. Jenny and I mentioned Thiel's track record. He's co-founder of Palantir and PayPal, an early angel investor in Facebook. That alone, I think, gave investors reason to be interested in Bullish. The company is actually a cryptocurrency exchange that's geared towards institutional investors, and it brings together those DeFi protocols with the security of a centralized company. Since it launched back in 2021, total trading volume on their platform has exceeded $1.2 trillion. And they also own the cryptocurrency news website CoinDesk. Now, the stock doubled today, more than doubled in its debut, opening at $90 a share on the NYSE, trading under the ticker BLSH. This exceptional performance is exceptional performance, especially given the repriced IPO, which was above its expected range. Now, earlier today, CEO Tom Farley referenced how the past 10 years of crypto market growth has essentially been driven by retail investors, but now the institutional wave has begun. And I tend to believe him, and I think it's just going to be a question of how big the wave will be.
Thank you so much, Adam Lynch. I really appreciate it. Really interesting insights there. Remember, you can get all your crypto content on Schwab Network's YouTube page and by following us on social media. I'm Sam Vadas. Thanks so much for tuning in to Crypto Corner.